Hello and welcome to TB3 Sports, episode 58. Rays are out, but the Bucs gave us some hope, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, great win by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We own the city of Philadelphia and probably the entire state.
Dude, how many times do we have to go over this?
Well, I just have to let the fans know. We own them.
We play Philly a lot is what we've learned on this show.
True.
And we always win.
We beat the Eagles. We beat the Eagles.
We own the Eagles.
We own the Eagles for sure. Before we get into the games, we just want to extend, from us to you, we hope all of you guys are okay after Hurricane Helene. Our thoughts and prayers are for everyone who got damaged or hurt during the storm. I guess we're just three guys, part of a church and stuff like that. But if there's any way TB3 can help you, maybe it's just by distracting you, talking some sports, or is there something else? Leave a comment, DM us on Instagram. Stranger things happen. Maybe we can help you guys out. We would love to, if the Lord puts us in that situation. But yeah, I think we can get to sports because it looked like it was all going downhill this weekend. Storm. Then we had Rays were eliminated early in the week. Then we'll get to the college stuff and the episode coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't even want to.
Well, yeah, but seriously, the Bucs really they came through for us on Sunday. Really, when we needed them the most.
Yeah, I think that game was so awesome, and I think everybody around the Bay Area needed it. It was a tough weekend. It's always scary with storms. I know, even though we weren't really close in Tampa, we still got hit pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And just again praying for everybody who's affected, and it's all the way up to North Carolina.
Yeah, seriously,
the damage is just crazy. So yeah, we'll be praying for you guys. Hope everybody's doing okay. But yeah, the Bucs got a huge win. And the weather was perfect for it, actually, and very hot. And I think that's to go right off the rip. That is the best home field advantage. One of the best home field advantages in the NFL is when the Bucs get early home games in the season because it is brutal. It is absolutely brutal, and you could tell by the end of that game the Eagles were feeling it.
I think it felt like 100. Yeah,
I think
it felt like 100.
It got up to like 110 in the fields.
Wow, it's
crazy.
It was
insane.
It was humid. It was humid this weekend for sure. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree. I think I don't know if we've mentioned on the show, but the Bucs really do play into that heat. I mean, they're always wearing white at home, which is not something every team does, but they really do. Early on in the season, they focus on being. Using that heat to their advantage, which, is kind of, odd to me. But the Bucs really, they focus on that stuff. They got, sports science guys, looking into that stuff. And they do a great job. And, you bring some of these northern teams down here in Florida in September, they're gonna run out of gas. They're just not used to the type of heat that they're dealing with in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're going to struggle with it. I think it's funny because I played high school football here. And then I played college ball in Michigan. And I come back. And it's like, how in the world did I ever play in this? How did I ever play a football game in this weather, especially in like the afternoon? Insane. But anyways, the Bucs had to play a game, donning white and pewter, just a classic uniforms to beat the Eagles in. Toe hit leather at 1 o'clock. Tom Brady on the call. Maybe we can get into that in a little bit. There's some spicy content in that. But yeah, the Bucs decided that they wanted the ball first. They wanted to set the tone, and they did exactly that. They go 10 plays, 70 yards down the field, take up 5 minutes, and at second and goal at the Philadelphia 2-yard line, Baker Mayfield passes to none other than Mike Evans. Caught ball, fire the cannons. The first touchdown on an opening drive for the Bucs in over 20 games. Over 20 games, Bucs are able to do that. I know we talked about that on the show. They got to go out and they got to score touchdowns. No field goals. Set the tone with the touchdown. Eagles' first drive, they get 2 yards. Absolutely stuffed by the Bucs defense. Punted away, and the Bucs march right down the field again and get another touchdown. This time to Trey Palmer. A 15-yard strike by Baker Mayfield. Threading the needle. Beautiful, perfect pass. And the Bucs are up 14-0. Can the Eagles respond? No. This time, instead of 2 yards, they get -7. Bucs absolutely shut them down, and they have to punt right back. Bucs decide they're going to try to go up 21-0, and unfortunately, they can't. They kind of let off the gas there on that drive, but on the ensuing punt, Cooper DeJean, the white cornerback legend, looking for the ball. Stupid Eagles gunner decides to shove the Bucs player right into him. Ball's on the turf. Bucs pick it up, and they get the ball right back. And it only took them 5 plays and under 2 minutes to get a touchdown. And that time it would be Baker Mayfield running it. A little read option, lowering the shoulder. You can't tackle me. I'm Baker Mayfield. I'm going to run you over. And the Bucs go up 21-0. Pass the sticks. If you're an Xbox, PlayStation, Madden player, 21-0, the game's over. You got to hand over the sticks. Eagles, on their next drive, down 21-0, could not respond again. Have to give it to the Bucs, who would get a field goal to go up 24-0. And that's when the Eagles finally answer here in late in the second half. Get a touchdown to go, a huge touchdown to cut down the lead to, what would it be, 17? So it's 24-7. That would be it for the first half. Then we get to the second half. 24-7 ball game. The Eagles march right down the field. A huge run by Saquon Barkley. And all of a sudden, it's a 10-point ball game. But the Bucs, they said, we're not even going to let it look close. They would go right down the field. 12 plays, 70 yards, almost 6 minutes of clock. And this time it will be Bucky Irving running right up the middle for a touchdown to extend the lead to 30-16. Blocked extra point, kind of annoying, but they're able to get the guy down before he can. Oh no, they didn't. Too. He did score.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah, 30-16. Eagles get their next drive going. They're marching down the field, but then on 1st and 10 at the Tampa Bay 19, Jalen Hurts is sacked by Levante David. Fumble. Bucs get it. Go down, kick a field goal, go up 33-16, and the Eagles couldn't do anything after that. Their next drive, another sack on 3rd and 29, sacked by Yaya Diaby. The ball comes out, but it was recovered by the Eagles. Didn't matter. 4th and 39, they couldn't get anything. They had to punt it back, and then Eagles' last hope here late in the 4th, Jalen Hurts. He's looking. Doesn't get it on 3rd down at the Philly 45-yard line. 4th down and 11, sacked by Anthony Nelson. And that was your ball game. The Bucs win 33-16.
I want to say something. So last week, when we were predicting game scores, I said 24-16 Bucs. And Joel goes, don't really know how you're going to get 16. What's the football math on that? And I say, touchdown, 3 field goals. Mm-hmm. Or I say, 2 touchdowns, missed extra point field goal.
More like 2 touchdowns and a safety.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns and a 2-point run back. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Pretty close.
Yeah, if I would have gotten the Bucs score right. We're still looking for someone to get the scoregami right, to nail it on the head. That'll be a moment in history for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great game for the Bucs. I think, any initial thoughts before we deep dive into it?
I think this is, for the first time in a long time, especially under the Todd Bowles era, that I think probably since the playoff game that the Bucs have played a complete game on both sides of the ball. And I know maybe you just have the upper hand against the Eagles, but this is the second time now we've seen the defense absolutely shut down a better team in the NFL. This year was the Lions, and now the Eagles.
Hey, and they shut down Jaden Daniels. No, seriously.
Because somehow the Bucs are the only team to have forced a punt to the Commanders.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. They haven't punted since the Bucs game.
What was it, more scoring drives and incompletions for Jaden Daniels this year? So that's looking like a really good win for the Bucs. So, yeah, don't disrespect the Commanders, all right?
Yeah. Detroit's looking great. Look at that primetime game.
Yeah, I know. Putting up 42 points, absolutely having their way with the Seahawks, who I'm not buying them, but hey, they're 3-0. So, yeah, I think just a complete game. So not only did your defense absolutely dominate, but your offense played phenomenally. I think Baker Mayfield looked amazing. He looked sharp. I think the offensive game plan, too, was awesome. A lot of quick plays, a lot of stuff to keep Baker Mayfield upright and protected. The run game looked great as well. I mean, there's really not a lot of bad things you can say about this game.
Yeah, I think let's go right into offense because you nailed it on the head, Will. I think the MVP of this game, the players did great, but I think it's Liam Cohen, man. The tone that he set on that opening drive to go march down the field and do something the Bucs really haven't done this season, and they just threw quick pass after quick pass. Different people involved. Love to see Trey Palmer get involved before he got hurt. I mean, they had him in the backfield running screens. Very, very interesting plays. Chris Godwin's involved. You get Mike Evans involved on the first play. Tom Brady's calling it, stuff like that. That was really good. And I think the tone that it set, it had the Philadelphia defense on their heels all game because, they were not expecting this type of passing attack. And I think this game really showed, how lethal this Bucs offense is. I mean, how many weapons they can just throw out on you. I mean, they didn't even have Jalen McMillan. And you know what? An old friend, Sterling Shepard from the OU Baker Mayfield days, steps up straight from the practice squad, and he contributes in a major way. So this Bucs offense has so many weapons, and this game was just all about getting the ball out to the weapons. And they had it in space. They were making Philly miss tackles all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I think Liam Cohen rolled out a masterful game plan, and I think that was my biggest initial takeaway from this offense. Liam Cohen, I love you, man. And I think a lot of people were starting to kind of, the Denver game, Liam Cohen, did he finally hit the wall? Did people figure him out? And he comes back and responds with just elite game planning for the Bucs offense on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And I think just how quick he was able to address certain issues, like again, the next couple games outside of Commanders, the Bucs kind of struggle with the running game. Can't really get it going. Luke Gedeke goes down. That was kind of a big reason. And then with him going down as well, Baker was getting hit a lot. He was getting hit a lot in the pocket. I think Denver had, 7 sacks?
Detroit 5.
Detroit had 5. Basically all Aiden Hutchinson against School. But, yeah, and just to go right into this game and go, how do we fix that problem? And I think the quick passes were awesome because not only keeps Baker upright, keeps him protected, but then it's almost an extension of your run game too. Having to cover short and stuff like that. You don't know if it's a run or a pass. Keeping Philly on their toes. I think it was just perfect mix and match everything. And I think too, getting the ball to your weapons. I think the Bucs are loaded as far as weapons because you have your big dogs. You have Mike. You have Chris Godwin. You got Jalen McMillan. I know he's hurt, but he's supposed to be special. Trey Palmer is still special. Even Cameron Johnson, they love what they see from him. Cade Otton. And then not only with your running backs, I mean, they can both catch balls too. Rashad White, awesome in the back, catching the ball in the backfield. And I look at the stats here, and there's 8 different guys that Baker Mayfield was able to get the ball to. And that's what you want.
Even Sean Tucker got involved in the game.
Tucker
he had a couple nice plays.
He had a catch for 14 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was, and not only just the short passing game, but the motion. That's everything we heard about the Liam Cohen offense. The motion, the different run schemes, that was all on display. And something I loved looking at the box score was, you talk about running back controversy. You look at the stats. Rashad White, 10 carries, 49 yards. Bucky Irving, 10 carries, 49 yards. Just a perfect split down the middle. 2 electric running backs, a 1-2 punch that is going to pay dividends for the Bucs in years to come. And that's how you put to bed a controversy. You just go straight even, and you just hang 33 on a pretty darn good defense.
Yeah, and that's what you want. I'm so sick of the media, and especially it's the beat writers, the hometown boys. There's no reason to just start Bucky Irving. Okay, there's no reason to do that and to wear him out to get miles on those tires. There's no reason to do that. Have a 1-2 punch. Have a combination. Let them both get a bunch of carries. You don't need to just bench Rashad White because he might not be getting as many yards as Irving on a play. Look at this. They got the same. They got the even amount of carries. They got the same amount of yards. But it's good because they can both stay fresh. Both stay fresh.
And the other team has to get ready for 2 running back video.
Exactly, yeah. Have it in the Baker in the shotgun with both of them to his right and left. You don't know where the ball's going. You don't know if somebody's going out for a pass. I mean, it's just perfect when you have the combination. There's no reason to just overwork one of them because of recency bias.
Absolutely. And I think the Bucs offense did a great job of controlling the game. They had the ball for 36 minutes and 17 seconds, and they ran 74 total plays to the Eagles' 56. like Will mentioned, early on you kind of suffocate the game by in the first quarter. I have this first quarter, the Bucs 186 total yards, the Philadelphia Eagles in the first quarter 0 yards. They suffocated the game early. They kind of broke the will of the Eagles. The Eagles tried to make that little comeback, and even when that happened, like Will said, 6-minute drive to extend the lead from 10 to 7 or to 16 because of the extra point fiasco. Just really good job to control the tempo by the Bucs offense. The Eagles were always on their heels. They really did not ever look comfortable, and I think it came out, and the tone was set by Liam Cohen on that first drive. And when you have these quick passes on your heels, I think that kind of subdues your pass rush for the rest of the game because you're not in obvious passing situations. Baker Mayfield only was sacked 2 times, a huge improvement. The Bucs run for 111 yards, huge improvement. And I think you got to give credit to the boys up front. I think Ben Britterson, Cody Malk, I kind of called for them last week to have a better game, and they did. They really delivered. And Justin School had a much, much better game. I think we could say the Eagles got schooled on Sunday. So
is that going to be a quote?
No, dude. I can't take it. I stole it from Joel. Joel's
it's
a cheap copy.
TB3. That I like it. I want to see that on his tweet.
No, but in all seriousness, the offensive line did a lot better. But I also think, it's 50-50. They played better, but they also were in better situations because the Bucs offense was much more fluid and the play calling was much better. So, just really, really a near perfect game on offense. Truly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out, you mentioned him, Cody Malk. That guy played phenomenal. Rewatching the game, watching film and run schemes, this guy's looking for work. He's hauling down the field. There's one play that stood out to me on in a pass play. Josh Sweat, former Seminole, so he's my boy. But he's out wide on School, and Malk has nobody to block, so he just goes in and cleans his clock. Just takes him right to the ground. So I love seeing that physicality from him. And that's what we were hoping to see from him. Comes from a pretty physical school, tough powerhouse program, North Dakota State. So I'm happy to see him play better, and I want to keep it going.
One of my only frustrations in this game actually came from the broadcasting team because I'm at a restaurant with somebody, and I'm like, that's the first time the Buccaneers have scored a touchdown on their first drive in so long. And every time we don't get one, they're always reminding us to go. That makes it now 23 games. That makes it now 22 games. So to ease everybody's thought process, that was the first time in 24 games that we got a first drive touchdown, and it came week 18 of the 22 season.
Man, that's crazy. I thought, I was going to say 23. I'm glad you corrected me on
Falcons?
that.
Eagles. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That was when we got it against.
I think it was Falcons.
Yeah, probably. Whoever we played.
Yeah, it was a Falcons.
Because Tom Brady played for one drive, and then they yanked him.
We haven't got one since Tom Brady's last drive.
Yeah, last regular season drive, actually. That's true. That's crazy. And he was in the booth for when we broke it. Full circle. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Yeah, and as for the weapons, one that stood out to me was Mike Evans. 8 catches, 94 yards, a touchdown, by far his best game this year. Maybe Commanders. They're about similar, but Mike Evans was really good. They, after, I think he only had two catches the week before against the Broncos. The Bucs, first play, get him involved, and they kept getting Mike Evans involved in the game. And that's huge because Mike Evans is still playing at an elite level, and even when there is, a good corner on him, I want to see, Mike Evans be involved in the game. I think Liam Cohen did a good job at that, and Mike Evans delivered. I think there was only one oopsie drop by Mike Evans, but then the next play he made a really nice catch to make up for it. Yeah, it's kind of Mike, man.
If he's way too wide open,
he's not catching that. He is not catching that.
He'll catch anything else. And I think that's, again, credit to Liam Cohen for the game plan, because when you can get more people involved, you can't bracket Evans. You can't focus on one side of the field and take it away when you got other guys making plays. So I think if you continue to have success like that with some of your other guys, these third receivers like Palmer, McMillan, now Sterling Shepard kind of earned his keep there.
He did. He made the 53-man roster this week. That is official. Yeah. He will be on the team. And I think that assumed that.
I'm saying for playing time.
No, for sure. Well, he was. I mean, before this week, he was practice squad. He was only elevated because of Jalen McMillan. So that'll be interesting to see. I think McMillan and maybe Trey Palmer may not play this upcoming week, so we might get a big dose of Sterling Shepard against the Falcons. That'd be cool. Do we have Bucs 6 for 13 on third down? So were the Eagles. So pretty solid on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down. That beautiful touchdown run by Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, was 30 for 47, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 100.2 passer rating. Really good game from him, and it was just he was on time. He wasn't hesitant. There was a couple pump fakes, but they were intentional, and he was just slinging it. And that's when Baker's at his best, and Baker really was at his best. It was a really, really good performance from him. And yeah, I mean, defense time.
Yeah, defense. I mean, how can you not talk about how great they were? I think the thing that stuck out to me the most is the pass rush. Pass rush was way better. Sacks all across the board. And when you look at the second half there, the Eagles get a huge run from Saquon, score a touchdown. The game is seemingly closer now, as opposed to how one-sided the first half was. And after that, every Eagles drive ended in a sack. Every
Really?
time.
That's awesome.
The Bucs needed to get off the field and get pressure. How many times we sat on the show and talked about third and long? You can't let whoever, insert quarterback name, have all the time in the world and make a throw even when you got them backed up. And the Bucs are able to get pressure on Hurts and shut him down. And I think they're probably up there for position group of the game, D-line.
Mm-hmm.
I think too. Todd Bowles scheming up great stuff. Just pressure-wise, I saw one play. They got 6 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage. The Eagles, they shift over to the right to try to contain some of these guys, and Todd Bowles perfectly times up a cornerback blitz with Tyke Smith, gets in Jalen Hurts' face, and he has to throw it away. Basically, gets smoked too. I thought I got two there.
That was early on. Yeah, that was okay. No.
But
you are a savage.
Just shout out to Todd Bowles, scheming up great pass rush, great stunts, and to get pressure on Hurts, and that really affected him. Able to keep him in the pocket too.
That was what my takeaway was the Bucs were able to get pressure from the interior and keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket. I think this was by far the best job they did against, they've played 3 pretty mobile quarterbacks, and this was by far the best job of keeping the quarterback in the pocket and also getting pressure on him. And I think that comes down to one man who was healthy this week, and that was Vita Vea. A monster game from him. He had a sack and 2 tackles for loss, but his impact was much more than the stats. Did a great job plugging up the run, just mauling people, taking on double teams, opening gaps for the linebackers and the safeties and the other defensive linemen to come in and finish off the plays. I mean, I looked, the Eagles had 113 rushing yards, which is, on the surface, not a great performance by the Bucs rush defense.
Take away
but
the run.
Again, I was about to say that. That was 50, 60 yards, and they're, sub 100 yards rushing. So, really, really good job. I think that was a huge key of the game. The Eagles were, I think, 3rd in the NFL in rushing yards per game coming into this one. Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Gainwell, good running back duo. You have a running quarterback in Hurts, and the Bucs did a great job shutting it down. And it was key because that's what the Eagles wanted to establish. They had no A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith. They needed to establish the run, and the Bucs didn't let it happen. And I think that all comes down to really Vita Vea, man. Really good game from him. Just want to see him stay healthy. He was looking every bit of the monster that we know he can be. I think Logan Hall had a much better game. Even getting up there and batting down a screen pass. Seeing it looking like Mike out there getting up there. But in all seriousness, the defensive line, like Will mentioned, so much better. And even the outside linebackers, really, really good. I know this guy didn't really get on the stat sheet, but Chris Braswell, his impact was felt multiple times. I think Todd Bowles used him a lot, standing in some of those blitz schemes, and he was around the quarterback. I think Levante David got one of the sacks that Braswell could have gotten a half sack for, but I don't think they gave him credit for that. But, I mean, pressure on the quarterback was there from Braswell, and I really, really liked what I was seeing. Made a couple tackles. And I saw a couple plays from the Denver game that kind of showed Braswell getting more and more involved, and he's been playing more and more snaps as the season has gone on. And I think as we get to the middle of the season, we're going to really, really start to hear the name Chris Braswell a lot and maybe even see him get home to the quarterback.
Yeah, I certainly hope so too. To go back on Vita Vea there, clearly we need him. You can see compared to the weeks we haven't had him to the weeks we have. I mean, he makes such a huge impact. I think his only issue is himself. He's got to stay healthy. He has to stay healthy for this team to succeed, and he's the biggest reason why the Bucs are able to shut down the run game. So hopefully Vita Vea can stay healthy this whole season. We need it desperately. Chris Braswell, yes, love to see more of that. We need pass rushing, and it looked great. It looked great on Sunday. So hopefully he can continue to get more reps and get home to the quarterback.
Yeah, and also another outside linebacker on the opposite end of Chris Braswell and also JTS was Yaya Diaby. He finally got home and got that first sack of the season. I feel like he's been hawking down quarterbacks all season long, but just not getting there. Elusive quarterbacks getting outside of the pocket. But his pressure and his effort has been there. I look at him. He had a 77.9 PFF grade. That's good for fourth best on the Buccaneers in this game. And he's been so close. He had a sack, a tackle for loss. He's been so close in these games. I think he was a big reason why there was so much pressure on Goff in that game in Detroit. He did a really good job. And again, I think you got to remember, he came off, what could have been a season-ending injury in training camp. He came back and he's ready for week 1. He's still ramping up, and his impact has been felt, but he hasn't been able to finally get home and make the big play, and he finally did that in this game, forcing a fumble. Could have been recovered, a big sack, great PFF grade. So love what I saw from Yaya, really huge. And then, man, how have we not gone this long in the show without talking about Lavonte David, man? Holy moly. This dude, I mean, what can you say about Lavonte David that has not already been said? This guy was fantastic. He had the highest grade for the Bucs on PFF, 90.4. Again, that is out of 100. You get that on the test, you're feeling pretty darn good, and this is an NFL game. He also had 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, 1 pass breakup, and a quarterback hit. Fill in the stat sheet. Lavonte David, man. For me, I'm born in 2003. He's the best Bucs player I've seen with my 2 eyes.
Yeah, he's getting close. There really, like you said, there really isn't much more to say about him. He is simply the greatest, the only Buccaneer outside of another great linebacker, Derek Brooks, to have 1,500 tackles in a career. So shout out to him for that milestone. But not that I want it to ever happen, but I'm waiting to see this guy slow down because I'm not sure it ever will. He must be on the TB12 diet, man. Because we thought, 2 years ago it's probably it. He comes back last year. We go, well, that was a great run. He had a great season, but that's probably it. And here he is again, still dominating, still he might be the best linebacker in the NFL.
That's not even a crazy statement. He's 34, guys. This is his 13th NFL season. This isn't the MLB, man. You're on your knees. You're taking hits, contact all season long. I mean, Lavonte David, I was looking at his numbers. I mean, he's playing 14, 15 games consistently, even more some seasons, and he's still going strong for his 13th year, his age 34 season. That is ridiculous. This guy, he's one of one. I mean, just so impressive to see what he's doing at this point of his career.
Would you like me to make the conversation more somber? Derek Brooks' career fell off at 35, so enjoy it.
Well, I think with how close Lavonte David has been to retiring, this might be the farewell tour, especially if the Bucs can get that Super Bowl and send them off right.
Ooh.
Oh man, don't get me started,
dude. It's feasible and it's possible. Will mentioned defensive line, just to put it in perspective of how good this Bucs defense was on Sunday. The Bucs in the first 3 games of the season had 2 sacks the entire games, and in this game they had 6 sacks. So they tripled their sack output in one game. Just great stuff. 7 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback hits, relentless pressure on Jalen Hurts all day long, shutting down the run. Just a really, really good game by the defense. We need it the most because, both sides of the ball. You could say that the Bucs against Denver, they played a fully incomplete game, and today they played a fully complete game. It was really, really fun to watch these Bucs on Sunday.
Yeah, extremely. And it's a huge win. Are we ready to
Yeah,
get into it? Because believe it or not, they're going to play in 2 more days.
48 hours.
48 hours. I mean, what time is
24
it?
hours from when you guys are probably listening to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 48 hours on the dot from when we're filming this. So very quick turnaround. The Bucs will head up to Atlanta, Georgia, to play the Falcons, led by Kirk O'Chains, Mr. Coles Cash, Kirk Cousins. First divisional matchup of the year for your Buccaneers, and not that this is a must win, but I really want to see the Bucs go in and dominate. I really want to see them do that against a divisional foe. Bucs have kind of struggled, especially. You look at last year and the year before, have struggled a ton in the divisional games. I would love to see a very dominant win like we saw on Sunday.
Yeah. I'm trying to... Yeah, some of the stories for this, I was trying to pull up the injury report, and maybe... I don't know. We'll see. I'll find it.
There's a lot.
There's a lot for the Bucs for sure. And I think the key to this game is, for defensive-wise, is to obviously continue the quarterback pressure. Kirk Cousins is coming off that Achilles injury, and his direct quote going into the season was he feels 100% inside of the pocket. So not like Kirk Cousins was really a mobile quarterback before his injury, but even some of those boots and the play action, that stuff is kind of tainted when it comes to what Kirk Cousins can do in 2024. So definitely keeping the pressure on Kirk Cousins. He's not going to be able to elude much pressure. And also, to me, a guy to keep your eyes on if you're the Bucs defense, and I'm sure they already know about him, is Bijan Robinson. This guy is one of the most elusive and shifty backs in the league. They get him the ball all over the place, screens, short passes, running the ball outside, inside. He is their best player, in my opinion, on both sides of the ball, and they want to give him the ball over and over again. So the Bucs kind of have to take the Saquon Barkley effect, and I have a lot of confidence in them because they did a pretty darn good job on Saquon. He started to get going in the second half, but by then it was too late, and if the Bucs can, hold Bijan Robinson for as long as they held down Saquon Barkley, I don't think this Falcons offense is going to have much success against the Bucs defense.
Yeah, I think the biggest guy, he is the biggest guy on the team, but he is going to be big metaphorically for us, is Vita Vea once again. You got to shut down that run game because not only do they have Bijan, they have Tyler Algier, a 1-2 punch. And if you watched a couple weeks ago when Atlanta played the Eagles, that was how they won that game. I mean, they rarely even passed it all that game. It was heavy running, and the Eagles were having trouble stopping, and that's why Atlanta was able to stay in that game and sneak away with a win against them. So you got to shut down this run game. You have to shut it down, and if you have Kirk Cousins passing the whole game, I think you have a good chance of winning. He's bound to make mistakes just because he's bad. Okay.
Well, I mean, he had 2 or 3 interceptions last year against the Bucs in Week 1, right? 2, right? And then they also had a fumble or something. There was a plethora of turnovers in that game. But I completely agree. And I don't know, Joel, what you got anything Bucs wise preview this game?
I mean, Thursday night's not prime time, like we all know that, but don't let the lights get the best of you. Like, there'll be 17 people watching you, and just don't feel that pressure. Just win the game. You're at home. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, this is about the best Thursday night football game they might get all season, man. They put some whack matchups on Thursday night, but this is a good one, a division game. I'm hoping the Bucs can kind of stomp on them and make it not a good game. But this is a good Thursday night football game. Division, 2 teams that I think a lot of people would say are the best 2 in the division. So we'll see. I think another key to this, the Bucs offense is kind of taking what the defense gives you. I think when I saw some of the film from the Falcons and Saints game, it's no secret that the Saints want to stretch the field with Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Yeah, I said it right. Let's go. They want to stretch the field, and the Falcons just did not let them do that. They made the Saints have to take the underneath routes, the middle of the field, and I think the Saints really were kind of befuddled by that, and they really could not get much offense going in that game. But I think the Bucs will do a better job of using the middle of the field. So I do think the game plan is probably going to be pretty similar to, what we saw against the Eagles, because, the Falcons pass rush is pretty good. They got Matthew Judon, some other cats around there. Am I missing a big Falcons defensive lineman on the other side? Don't they? I don't know. We could find that.
You can look it up, yeah.
But they
got some guys
They got some guys on defense. I know their secondary is pretty highly touted.
Grady Jarrett. There you go. Long-time Falcon.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. But their secondary is pretty highly touted. Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates are a really good safety duo.
A.J. Terrell's looking good at corner.
So it also is a key for Baker Mayfield to be protecting the football, because Bates and Simmons they're ball hawks, man. They're going to want to force some turnover, so that is a key to win the turnover battle. Because if you guys haven't watched Jesse Bates, you can kind of just look no further than Antoine Winfield. He's a very similar player. I would take away Tweez over Jesse Bates, but there's a lot of debate between them two. But they're definitely similar players. So taking care of the football and would go back into taking what the defense gives you. So use the middle of the field, work the middle of the field, and take care of the football is what my keys for the Bucs offense would be.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to you. I think the game plan against the Eagles worked pretty well, and I think that should work well against the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of quick game, a lot of short screens and stuff like that to kind of keep them on their toes. I think you could look no further than Rachaad White to possibly have a big game, a huge impact on this game, specifically catching passes out of the backfield. So if you have him on your fantasy, I'd say you should start him this week.
All right, there we go. I think if I remember correctly, I think last year's game at the Falcons, the one the Bucs won, was kind of Rachaad White's coming out party for his massive, end of the season stretch, because it was Atlanta, Green Bay, Jacksonville. Was a lot of Rachaad White in those games. So I think he can replicate that performance, going into the game at Atlanta on Thursday Night Football. Two good kickers, Younghoe Koo, Chase McLaughlin, two good kickers that are very rarely going to miss, even for long ones. So if it comes down to kicking, you feel good both ways.
And I think that's a key to the Falcons. You pay all this money for Kirk Cousins to come in, and all you seem to do is kick field goals. Me as a fantasy owner, I have Younghoe Koo, got me 20 points. that was more than Devon Achane, a running back. Still won my week, though. You have to shout out myself for that. But anyways, you pay all this money for somebody to come in who can't score touchdowns. Well, you got to take advantage of that, Bucs. If they're kicking field goals, match it with touchdowns. Continue to score. Make it out of reach, and I think you'll have no problem winning this game if you can do that.
Yeah, and I do think the Falcons seem to really come out to slow starts pretty consistently. Even the Eagles game, the offense didn't get going till late. That Steelers game, they never really got going in week one, and then even last week, they were down early to the Saints, and then the Saints kind of gave it right back to them. That was an ugly game if you guys watched it. Going on the NFC South, that was an ugly.
And everybody was saying this was going to be the best team in the South.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I think as you look at it right now, barring the injuries, talk a little bit so I can find that, because that's important.
Yeah, let's. What do I got to talk about here? Yeah, there's going to be plenty of injuries, but I think the Bucs have risen to the occasion many times this season.
Okay, so, I got it. So Grant Barden was limited in practice yesterday. Got to remember, this is a short week, so this is on Monday, but this is what would be your Thursday practice on a normal week, or maybe Wednesday. One of those big practices to see. Grant Barton limited practice. Servache Dennis, he is likely going on the IR, so he will not be available for this game. Mike Evans did not practice. I would assume that is just a veteran thing.
He's old, man.
He's old. Greg Gaines limited. William Golston did not practice. Gedeke was limited. Hopefully he can pass that concussion test.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I said, though, it's hard.
Yeah,
did I not say that on the show?
You did.
Those tests are hard.
Yeah, it's a funny injury.
It gives you concussion.
True. No, and it was looking like he was going to play, and then he had a setback late in the week last week. It's weird. I don't like the way this injury is trending. It's a weird one.
Staring
I
at
don't
the sun too long or something?
Yeah, something like that. Logan Hall, limited practice with his foot. Cameron Johnson, limited practice. Kalijah Kancey did not practice. I would not assume he'd come back on a short week. Same thing with Antoine Winfield, who did not practice. Vita Vea was limited. Got to keep him healthy. That's fine. McMillan and Trey Palmer both did not practice. Looks like it's trending like both those guys will not play on Thursday. Wirfs was limited practice, but again, one of your big dogs. You don't want to waste them. So very, very, deep Bucs injury report. There we go, Colby. For the Falcons, Bijan Robinson was limited. Caleb McCary limited. Ray McLeod limited, and Troy Anderson. So they had a much shorter injury report than the Bucs.
Man, you take away Ray McLeod, I don't know who Kirk Cousins is going to throw it to.
Yeah, I mean, I think their leading receiver is Darnell Mooney right now. So, yeah, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, definitely. Don't let this be the game.
Kyle Pitts just running on air.
Don't let this be the game that they get going, all right, guys? That would really suck after we just bashed them. But, yeah, barring injuries, and we'll have to see what this team looks like, but I do think this will be a similar squad to what we saw against the Eagles. I think Vita Vea will play. Hopefully Gedeke will play. That's probably the one that will change. Don't think Palmer or McMillan will play. Don't think Winfield or Cansey will play. But it'll be a similar team to what just played the Eagles, and I think that team is by far a better team than the Falcons. And I'll predict it right now. You know, I'm ready, and I'm going to say the Bucs are going to win this game 28-17. I think the Bucs have a better team. I think they're going to come out with the eyes on them. I mean, this was the game of the week against the Eagles. You know, 28-7, or they played. You know, Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt on the call. A lot of eyes were on them this week, and I think that's not going to affect them for Thursday Night Football. So 28-17, Bucs win.
Man, I was thinking that exact same score in my head.
Wow,
I really was. But I'm going to give the Bucs a little more credit. I think it will be 26-13. Tampa Bay Buccaneers victory on a Thursday.
What you guys forgot about, though, is one man, and his name is Raheem Morris. And he's going to get the best of the Bucs this week. I'm going to say 27-17 Falcons.
Wow. Raheem Morris does have a Rams background. The Rams do kind of own the Bucs. But I feel good about this game.
And I forgot this is also at Georgia, so that makes it a little scarier as well.
Yeah?
I thought this was a home game.
I mean, honestly, you look at some past Falcons games, Bucs fans travel really well to Atlanta. So this could be a semi-home game for the Bucs, you know, especially if they get it going early.
Let's split it down the middle.
Maybe. I don't know if I would go that far, but I do think Bucs fans travel pretty well, especially in division. So I'd be excited to see that. Thursday night, 8:15 on Prime Video. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit on the call. Bucs at Falcons. So tune in. Early game. If you guys are listening to this on Wednesday or Thursday, the game is on Thursday night. So
don't
forget about it. You don't want to miss the first quarter, and then you see the Bucs already up 14-0, and you miss 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? You know, if you missed the first quarter of this game, you missed a lot. 186 yards to 0, to be exact. But yeah, tune in if you can make the trip, or you're just watching. Just support the Bucs, man. Support the Bucs. You know, go out, big division game. They're on top of their division, 3-1. The Saints and Falcons are 2-2, and the Panthers are 1-3 right now. So as division play starts, they just want to keep that up.
Mm-hmm.
And we can kind of come back to a more somber note because your 2024 Rays season is officially over. The Rays, they ended their play of the 2024 season last Sunday. Their final record was 80-82, just missing that final 500 mark, which I was shocked they didn't get. It felt like the most obvious thing ever that was going to happen. But as for last week, and then we'll get into our overall thoughts, but last week, Last show, we did talk about the first Tigers game where they were shut down by Tariq Skubal. You know, if it makes us feel any better, he did the same thing to the Astros in the playoffs today. But they were shut down by Tariq Skubal, and that pretty much shut down their playoff hopes on Monday. And then they fully slammed the door shut on Tuesday, on Wednesday, I apologize, losing 7-1. Then they got swept by the Tigers, who are red hot, 4-3 on Thursday. And then they went to Boston for a meaningless series, but a little bit of fun. And they would take 2 out of 3, winning 2-1 and 7-2 on Friday and Saturday, and losing the finale to put them to 80-82. As for these games, you know, a couple Junior Caminero home runs and these sprinkled in was good to see. I think he finished with 7 home runs on the season in about, 2 months played, maybe a little bit less than that. So, you know, good to see Junior get on the board. I think a couple nice starts to finish the season. You know, Shane Baz, 6th inning pitch, 2 earned runs on Saturday against the Red Sox. And then Taj Bradley ended the season with a really, really nice start. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. So those were encouraging things to see, as we head into the 2025 campaign and the offseason. Anything we saw from these games real quick before we go season outlook?
Just the same old story when your season was on the line against the Tigers. I know they've been white hot, but he couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. Really couldn't get anybody on the base path at all. So that's kind of how the season's gone, and that's why you were eliminated. I think, I didn't watch a lick of that Boston series. They were out. There's a lot of college football on in the Bucs, of course. I'll admit it. Okay, I didn't watch.
Yeah, I was not watching the Bucs. The Rays game at 4:00 on Saturday in the middle of college football when they're eliminated. Come on, guys.
Sorry.
Come on, guys. Sorry,
but it's just.
I did not watch. I won't stay quiet. I didn't watch either.
Yeah. I'm impressed with. I think that shows Kevin Cash's ability to manage and. A lot of the players, on the team, it gives you hope for the seasons to come. That as bad as this season has gone for us, and the trade deadline being sellers, you were still right there in the final week. So I think that's something to hang your hat on. But at the end of the day, we're expecting to win now. We've been in the playoffs. We broke a 5-year streak of going to the playoffs. So a lot of things have to change moving forward for this Rays team in the offseason. I think pitching is pretty solid. You could probably even trade Bradley or Littell and get some pieces. I think the bullpen's pretty solid if you can keep a lot of those guys. And we have a lot of talent coming up in the ranks as far as hitters, but if the Rays want to see any success in 2025, you got to go out and sign a couple bats. You have to. So until that happens, it's not going to be – we could see a lot more of this. So I don't want to see it happen. This season was disappointing.
See, you guys always forget Rays baseball, and there were some major wins that happened this week. We witnessed Isaac Paredes not make the playoffs and Randy Rosarina not make the playoffs. What more could you ask for? I mean, yeah, I would have loved to have been 81 and 81, but it's the little things. It's the little things in Rays baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to look back at those trades and, while it might have set back this season, it might have propelled the Rays franchise forward. I think they got a lot of good returns for him. I definitely am still going to miss Randy. That's the one I still am questioning. But the other ones I think were really good trades. And as for the season, I think that, this pitching staff, throughout the season, even it was banged up early on, the pitching staff did enough to win you most games. Even when the bullpen was, sputtering, they did enough to win you most games. And this season really just came down to the lineup, and it was just lackluster. I think a lot of it was players underperforming. I mean, we'd seen guys like Yandy Diaz, Josh Lowe, even Randy Rosarino when he's back there, guys like that. I mean, even going back to freaking Rene Pinto, back in the early on, I think we all were kind of expecting him to take a leap as a huge part of the Rays team this year, and he only got a month of service time before he was, back down in Durham. And then even as some of these guys came up, I mean, Curtis Meade, really disappointing season in my opinion. Taylor Walls was not able to make a jump. And I think a lot of players underperformed, but there was still a lot of holes in this lineup, in this roster. And the lineup really, was missing the impact of Wander Franco. That's no secret. But the lineup still had a lot of holes that, hopefully will be addressed by some youth. But like Will said, there has to be some type of, established bat, some signing, some trade, something. You shed so much cap, Stu Sternberg, at the trade deadline. You shed a lot of it. You don't have as many players on the books. You got to replace that talent because my worst fear for this 2025 Rays team is just to see, the pitching staff get stranded. I mean, to see the Rays lose, 2-0 games next year in 2025, or 3-1 games where the pitching staff again does everything it can to help you win, and the lineup just isn't good enough. So that's kind of my biggest fear right now with the Rays, and I really hope that they will address it.
From the looks of it, it looks like we have $46 million on the books for 2025 right now. So add on.
Yeah.
Add on, guys. Add on. My last point. I'm really glad the season's over. It's like watching like a dying animal on the side of the road, and it's like, just die already, please, just die. And now it's dead.
It kind of has felt like that the last month.
But at the same time, I'm the one who's like, I'm gonna believe in the Rays until he ease on the standing. So it was like either or, just get it over with.
Yeah, but you just want to believe in something.
Yeah.
And even when they gave you just a little bit of hope, you just wanted to believe.
I just needed something to hold me over till hockey season. That's all.
That's fair. Yeah, you miss that every night.
Yeah, I need something to fill those Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday nights.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, and I think. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I would say the Rays team MVP this year was Ball Brandon. Any objections to that?
I think it's fair.
I might just stick with my thing from the beginning of the year and say Zach Littell.
We got to get to Cy Young in a second. So
Cy Young,
Young, you're saying Zach Littell?
Cy Young, Zach Littell, MVP. Yeah, give me Brandon. And again, it's just the inconsistency, man. Because you look at, man, he had a great season. Was injured for a lot.
Played through some injury too.
But when he was in, he was hot. When he's hot, he's hot.
Yeah, really good Brandon last season.
Hard not to love him. But we just have to see that consistently, man. And that's like a thing with this core, with this team right now. This lineup can't win you a pennant. They just can't do it. And it's questions like with Brandon Lau, like, again, are we going to get that same one for next year? So, yeah, this year, yeah, shout out to him. Maybe it was going bald.
That helps. That didn't hurt. It had to help.
Sometimes
you gotta give it to Diaz. Sorry, I'm looking at the stats. Diaz had a good season.
After last year, you can't say he did.
Give me.
But he was way better than Brandon Lau.
Let's compare OPSs for Yandy Diaz.
I don't care. I got 50
batting average.
I got 55 RBIs right here and 281 average.
Yeah, you're talking batting average. Don't talk to me.
I mean, I'm living in 2011. I don't care. I don't care about your stats.
All right, he's taking Yandy Diaz. I'm taking Paul Brandon, and so is Will. Cy Young. Will's taking Zach Littell. I think he pitched the most innings probably as a Ray, and I can double check that. I'm pretty sure though. Zach Littell was a rock in the rotation, man. He was definitely, what am I looking at? Where is Zach Littell's? Did he not get? Oh yeah, he did. 156 in the third innings for Zach Littell. By far the most in the Rays rotation. Was a rock, had some ups and downs, but was really solid. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. Dude, why did they make this so hard to? Where's his ERA? It's 3.63 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP. Yeah, really good for Zach Littell. I'm gonna have to disagree though. I'm gonna go a guy who barely played the first half of the season. I'm gonna go Shane Baz, 79 in the third innings pitched, a 3.06 ERA, and yeah, I thought he was really, really good. A 1.06 WHIP. I thought Shane Baz was really good. He was one of my favorite stories about the Rays season, and for that reason, I think I'm gonna go Shane Baz as my Cy Young. How about you, Will or Joel?
I think I'm gonna go Pepe. He had 26 games started. He had a where's his ERA?
360.
360 ERA. That's about what all the other guys had. Like that's a good looking little stat for me.
130 innings pitched for Ryan Pepio was really good for basically his first full year of starting.
He had less home runs given up than Taj and Littell. Looks good to me. Pin him, Cy Young.
That's a good pick, man. Ryan Pepio had a sneaky good season. Excited to see what he does next year.
I'm trying to find his ERA, 360.
Yeah.
Which is better than Littell.
True. Barely, but it is. Yeah, that's a really good season for Pepio. I think I don't know if any favorite storyline, favorite game, anything as we reminisce.
Yeah, I mean the ovation for Andy, of
me
course.
too,
that
man.
was a great game. I think one of my favorite moments too is I think that Jose Siri throw, top of the 10th against the Twins. That sticks out to me a lot, actually. I really enjoyed that moment. Again, you just think some of these guys can play to their potential consistently. Well, it could have been. What could have been? What could have been if we didn't get swept by the White Sox?
Man.
Or, not go 2-4 against them. Because, it was funny. They were talking about that in the doubleheader yesterday, Braves. And they were like, they had a losing record against the White Sox, too. And they were like, we wouldn't even be in this position right now if it wasn't for that. And I think, man, maybe the Rays.
Darn White Sox.
White
Sox are sneaky good.
It definitely hurt us before we even got started, man. April was brutal. That was, I'm not saying that the rest of the season wasn't brutal, but April was like, it really was a sour taste to start the season, and I definitely think, especially for the old core, the pre-trade deadline core, it kind of doomed them into, becoming sellers at the deadline. I know they tried their hardest. They got to a couple games over 500 a couple times, but, I mean, that April, man, that road trip where it was, White Sox and Brewers, brutal stuff, man. And then, I mean, a good storyline for me was Jose Caballero, a little renaissance. I think he's going to be a utility guy for
led
us.
the AL in stolen bases.
Yeah, 44 stolen bases for Jose Caballero. Led the AL. 630 OPS, but when you have all the stolen bases, that really helps. And, I mean, 227 average. It wasn't great. Played really good defense. But he was one of my favorite players to watch on this Rays
team. You think
team.
this is really, too, one of his first full seasons?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I think he's going to be definitely the shortstop to start the year next year. And then if hopefully Carson Williams comes up, Jose Caballero will shift into being a utility guy. But I think he'll be around the team for a while. He's exactly the type of player the Rays
Change
like.
his corny Busch Gardens walk-up song.
He should change his walk-up song. You nailed that.
Yeah, that was good.
I think I could probably do all the Rays walk-up songs. Maybe not some of the new guys.
They don't have very memorable walk-up songs, though. That's another thing about the Rays.
They don't have way up.
That's the best one.
Last night we let.
That's not a good one.
Talk.
Nah, that one.
I like that one.
I don't like that one. I miss KK's, man. And he did the bat thing. Loved it. One of my favorite games. Another Jose Siri moment, but that catch he had at home against Oakland. And then he walks it off the next inning. That was pretty electric, and then the next day, hey Siri, it's not your night. Turns around 103 from Mason Miller into the seats, ties the game, and that was a heck of a moment. I wish we could get that type of Jose Siri all the time, but I don't think that's true. He's just a moment man. And then also another one of my favorite games later down the line was Dodger Stadium Saturday night. The Rays are down by 1, and Junior Caminero has his moment, ties the game up, and then Jose Caballero gives him the lead with a 2-run home run in the top of the 10th. That was a fun game. That was, the night before you have Shohei walk you off, and, I saw about 20 million posts about it on social media, and it hurt, but then you come back and you win the next game. So that was pretty fun. I think that was one of my favorite games, too. Joel, any
I'm going to go the August 20th game at Oakland. Saying our farewells to Oakland, saying goodbye to the Coliseum. A little 1-0 game. Classic Rays A's baseball right there.
Dude, Shane Baz legacy game in that one. That was a good start from Shane Baz.
That was a fun series. Specifically that game, 1-0. You can't do it any better.
Yeah.
That's Rays baseball.
That was Rays baseball, and I hope it's not Rays baseball in 2025, but it might be. All right, last question before I think we can be done with the Rays. Fellas, if you could have one word to describe this 2024 Rays season, what would it be?
Disappointing.
Disappointing is one. All right, Joel?
Lackluster.
I was going to say underwhelming.
Yeah,
So,
I had a better word before the show.
I think lackluster's good, man.
Yeah, I think inconsistent outside of your 500 record, but everything else inconsistent.
They were consistently inconsistent.
Like exhausting would be too strong. I wouldn't use that word. So, yeah, I'll go lackluster.
Lackluster. Underwhelming, lackluster, and what did you say?
Inconsistent.
underwhelming, lackluster.
Disappointing.
Yeah, it
Dumb.
really was. It was a fresh.
Pull out the thesaurus.
Yeah, seriously.
Stupid.
Sucky.
Painful.
Yeah, it was a frustrating Rays season. This is not what we wanted this Rays baseball season to go like, but we do appreciate anyone who consumed our content for this Rays season. It was a period of growth for our page, most definitely, especially on social media, and it trickled over to YouTube. So thank you guys for following us for Rays season. We of course will be covering Bucs and Lightning in the meantime before the next Rays season, but I have a sneaking suspicion we'll be here for our 2025 Rays season as well, unless something happens, like we die or something.
We'll have some Rays. We might have a little off-season special.
Well, for sure.
The Bucs bye week's in like 3 weeks, so
no, we'll talk some Rays when the off season gets cooking. After the World Series and stuff, we'll talk some Rays for sure, because there's going to be plenty of moves. The Rays always do way more moves than you think there are. Like, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Well, the Glasnow trade was late November.
Yeah, it was around then. Yeah, I still think Tyler Glasnow's not pitching he's out for the season, man. Give the Rays a win on that one. I think you look. Manuel Margot was on the Twins at the end of the year. Tyler Glasnow signed an extension. Only pitched like 60, 70 innings. Pepio pitched 130. Give the Rays a win on that trade. Johnny DeLuca, center fielder of the future, had a really good end of the season. Yeah, Jonathan Aranda, MVP season next year. Book it.
My prediction: Jeffrey Springs, Cy Young.
But yeah, thank you guys for following. And I think, real quick, little MLB predictions, World Series predictions.
World Series, I think. Oh man, the AL is pretty tough for me. The AL is pretty tough. I think the NL, though, I think it's going to be the Dodgers' year. I think it's going to be their year. They do have some pitching problems, but there's some magic about that team. So I'm going Dodgers, who I am rooting for as well, actually.
What?
I'm rooting for the Dodgers.
Oh, I don't like that one, man.
Weird.
I've never done that before, but I'm rooting for them. I hate everybody in the AL. American League.
You hate the Royals?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Just because
all the Central teams are so harmless to me. I can't hate them.
But that's what makes me hate them, because it's just you get free passes to the World Series.
I mean,
or playoffs most of the years. Like we're in the SEC of baseball. We're in the SEC of baseball. It's kind of tough to get out of there. What they
got 3 teams in, probably because they all got to play the White Sox. But they got 3 teams in the AL Central. That's the most out of any division.
Had they not been playing the White Sox, so the AL was so evenly placed this year. There may have been an 82-win team going to the playoffs if it weren't for the White Sox.
But I mean, a blind squirrel finds in that every once in a while, with all the Central teams getting in. But who's gonna get out of there? I wanted to say Houston, but then they lose today. Doesn't give me a good feeling.
Wow.
You
were gonna go Dodgers, Houston. Wow.
Yeah.
You're rooting for the evil empires.
Usually it's just a lot of times it's disappointing. It's rare you get fun series like last year. It's usually just...
I prefer the evil empires fighting each other.
Yeah, oh man.
I'm the general audience. It's I ain't tuning into the D-backs playing the World Series.
Oh, I love that though. That was electric baseball.
Then the Orioles play bad today too.
They did. They lost to the Royals.
Oh man, is it? Dare I say it's gonna be Yankees Dodgers? Because it might be. I think it might be Yankees Dodgers.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, the other teams are scary.
I have a horrible feeling it's gonna be that too, though.
That's not what I'm picking. I'm not impressed by the Guardians. I think the Tigers is going to end at some point, guys. It's going to end at some point. Maybe even Houston wins back-to-back. But yeah, man, the Yankees just might win the pennant in the AL. So yeah, give me Yankees Dodgers. Dodgers take the crown though.
I'm feeling Yankees as well, but I'm going to flip it a little bit. I'm going Yankees Phillies 2009 World Series rematch, and this time the what was it back then? I'm trying to remember what the disease was back then, but there was a disease that like kept a lot of the Phillies players out. That's not going to happen this time. Phillies win.
The swine flu, wasn't it 2009?
Yeah, I think it was swine flu.
We didn't start the swine flu.
Wow. I wasn't a baseball fan back then. That's why I love when Joel brings up random history. How would I have known that?
Their closer was really mad. Like, he wanted them to postpone the series, but the MLB wouldn't, and that's part of the reason why the Phillies lost.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dude, Yankees, Phillies, there might be catastrophic damage to the city that loses.
Ooh,
that's a crazy fan base crossover. Man, I was going to put the Yankees in, but we can't all three go Yankees. Oh, man.
Who are we going to put in, the Guardians?
No. You know what? Here's what I was thinking before they lost today, but I'm just going to stick with it. And maybe they get first rounded, but I'm going to stick with it. I think the Orioles are going to go from the AL. I thought that maybe they would. They're going to win the next two against the Royals. Let's just say that. The Orioles are going to go from the AL, and I really do think that this is the Padres' year. I think it's Slam Diego's year. And I think they're going to win. I think give me the Padres over the Orioles in the World Series.
I don't want that.
I like the Padres, man. They're fun.
You know me. I don't like seeing former Rays win one without the Rays.
What, Jason Adam?
And I love Jason Adam, but
Come
I
on.
don't want to see him win.
He's a bullpen guy.
I don't.
He's a bullpen guy. He doesn't count.
I don't want to see.
He wasn't even a closer.
I want to see my team win before I can get sentimental about boys getting rings with somebody else.
But
How did you feel
I was
about-
rooting for the Rangers
How'd you
last
feel?
year.
Okay, I was going to say.
Rooting for the Rangers.
I was rooting for
Heck
the
no.
Diamondbacks.
Heck no. I didn't want to see Evan Longoria win a ring.
That was,
without the
that was a
Rays.
swan song, though. I really wanted him to get it.
No
I thought
shot
you were
on
rooting
earth.
against
No
them.
shot on earth.
I
wanna
was,
see
but now in
Longoria
hindsight, it's pretty sad he
win
didn't get a
pennant
ring.
without the Rays. Heck no.
yeah.
Sorry.
I
I
think
was
the
rooting
only
for
reason I wasn't is because he would have played another season had he not got the ring. But now that it's all said and done, it's a shame he didn't win.
He should have won one with us. So
He should have
there you go.
finished
Thanks,
the job.
Andrew Freeman.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say, what's his name? Andy Freed.
Oh, yeah.
What'd he do?
Ideal World Series matchup, though, Tigers-Mets. Oh, that'd be great, man.
You love the Mets.
Ooh, that'd be
you love the Mets.
That'd be
If you are
2016 repeat.
that was Royals Mets, was it not?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'd take that too though. If you're a New York team and you wear blue and orange, I got a soft spot for you. All the other ones I don't like, but blue and orange New York teams,
You like the Knicks?
I do. I got a soft Jalen
Yeah,
Brunson.
You know he loves Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
King of New York, man. The King of New York.
I saw a video and it was like, if you like could have the power of Beetlejuice, right? Because you say Beetlejuice 3 times, and it was like if you could make something appear by saying it 3 times, what would you say? And like the video, like the whole point was like the girl like was like, oh my ex, like that was a joke, and then the top comment was Jalen Brunson, and I was like, dang right, Jalen Brunson, my glorious king, dude. Magic season's coming up soon. All right, we're not getting into that.
Sister City.
TB3, not TB4.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. So that's our World Series predictions. Leave your World Series predictions down in the comments. Leave your Falcons and Bucs predictions too down in the comments. Let us know what you're feeling about this, this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe on YouTube, like the video, follow us on Spotify, 5 stars, follow us on Instagram and Twitter /X, and have a beautiful and blessed night.